Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Sinister Gaming. Just wanted to showcase my Labyrinth deck I've got a couple first place wins with. It's slightly different from the Floodgate and IKEA build that's been really popular as of late. It just kind of combines both just because in my particular area hand traps aren't super powerful, so not too many hand traps other than the furniture pieces that you'll see right now. So I'm playing, the 3 Lady, the 1 Lovely, and the 2 Ariana. Yeah, just Ariana, kind of good at 2, don't want to see it all the time, plus it kind of conflicts with one other card in my main deck as a tech choice, but if you do want to see this card more often, of course you could always swap the 3rd Ariana for the 3rd Lady. I just personally like having 3 Lady in the grind game. So I kind of opt more for the grind game a little bit more than like the standard IKEA build. So for the furniture cards, we're on 3-2-1. I don't think I would have any other changes because Bestials are also really popular where I'm in. So that's not going to deter me I don't think that would deter me from bumping them up. It's just that that's just another matchup you'd have to worry about, and I feel like the pure hand trap build just loses to those mid-range decks because it acts more as a combo deck, and this one's a little bit more mid-range, so I kind of like to keep it that way. And then for the last of the monsters, this is the card that conflicts with the Ariana a little bit, but not too much, is Lava Golem, so it's almost never dead. I mean, it's the easiest thing to pitch off your Labyrinth cards, the furniture monsters, and I think it's usable in practically every matchup. There was maybe once or twice where it wasn't really used too much, but with other Floodgates in your deck, this is like a really nasty card and no one really sees coming, and it's way harder to play around than just a Kaiju. And then once they see you discard it for cost, it kind of makes them set up mediocre boards if they're really anxious about it. So just a little psychology thing there. And then for the spell, or the last Labyrinth spell, is just the Labyrinth. And then for the other parts of the engine, for the traps, is just the 3 and 3. Probably wouldn't cut down on them, even though I've been seeing some people drop regular welcome to 2. And then the only other hand trap is just the 3 Imperm. The 3 Imperm has been fine. Of course, it combos with Lady, and this is the only hand trap that works under talents, which I've realized is still pretty good against this deck. Once you are trying to set up, it really hurts when you get talents. And then we're playing 3 Pot of Prosperity for our spells, other than the Labyrinth. So if you're wondering why I'm not playing the Extravagance, is just for the fact of that I have the Lava Golem, and there's a little bit more specific cards I want to see since I'm not maxing out completely on my furniture pieces. If you wanted to go that route, playing another Chandelier, another Coup Clock, I would definitely play Extravagance over this. So I just personally like it because of the Lava Golem aspect. And then for our 2 of traps that are not Labyrinth are just the Punishment and the Compulses. If you wanted to make space to play more furniture cards, I would think honestly Compulse can go to 1. It's starting to become not as crazy as it was when people first started playing this deck, so just because Cash Tier is so popular. For the 1-ofs, I'm still playing these iconic 4. Tears has been kind of becoming my favorite of the 4. Of course, Eradicator can win matchups just by resolving it, and then Drama Cannon comes in clutch as well. But yeah, Terra's starting to seem a little bit better, especially because, like I said, a lot of Cash Tier players where I'm at, so this works pretty well under a Rise Heart. They don't get anything back out of it. And then D-Barrier, of course. You can opt to not main deck this, but I choose to because I also have a lot of Sword Soul and Branded in my locals, so this is just, I'd rather see it in the main than not see it at all, if that makes sense. So it's been working pretty well. It's not the worst top deck. And then lastly, for our Floodgates, you could opt to not play the Gozen, but Lava Golem plus Gozen is an actual combo, quote unquote. So, you know, distribute their monsters, leave them with Gozen, get over one of their monsters, and then leave the Lava Golem on board. That's like a very degenerate alternate win condition you can have. But yeah, obviously you wouldn't want to rely on that, or it's not the most consistent, but with Prosperity, you know, it's definitely a possibility. And this is another card that could be cut if you wanted to run more Furniture-esque cards or just more hand traps. One thing I was considering playing was dropping the Gozens and the Lava Golem possibly, or the Compulse, one of the Compulse for the for just 3 Ash, just because the Branded matchup is a little rough, or at least it can be. But I noticed that this build in particular has a little bit better time than the Floodgate build, at least from my perspective. So for the extra deck, I've actually used most of these cards at least once. I have never made Abomination, but that's because due to an oversight, most likely, in the sense of me, I could probably use some type of Link 3, maybe a Nightmare Phoenix, just to pair better with this to make going to Abomination safer. But there has been times where I had maybe, you know, 4 or 5 monsters on the field, or including like the Muckraker or Muckraker and the Dark, so that would be enough to end on Abomination. But if you get to that point, you're kind of winning, so. And then for the fusions, for punishment targets, we just have the double Garura and the double Entis. Pretty standard stuff right there. For XCs, we're playing Ding, Zombiestein, and Zeus. You probably go into Zombiestein the least, but Ding comes up at least once a tournament. But yeah, and having Zeus access is always nice as well. And then lastly, for our Synchros, which has our MVP lineup, which is the Chaos Angel. Omega's mainly a punishment target, and then so is Malong as well. I thought this card would be better, but very rarely does this come up. I think it's just because its attack value is so awkward. But Chaos Angel is, I wouldn't say a necessity or mandatory, but having it does make it a lot easier to close out games, because as an example, there will be game states where you'll have Lovely plus Ariana and this, and that is pretty much game already if my math is correct. I think that's exact 8,000. So that has happened a couple times before, and you can just get this off Stovey and a Lady Labyrinth or Lovely. And then for the Bestials, this is the part of the side deck. This is the best part of the side deck from my testing or playing the deck. It pretty much goes in obviously goes in against most matchups that have lights and darks, but particularly this is for the branded matchup, Math Mech players if they're still on it, Dragon Link, and even the mirror match. When I play against other Labyrinth decks and they're playing a more furniture heavy build, and I see Magnamut plus my engine, it doesn't matter if I get evenly matched, because Magnamut's going to give me an insane amount of value, just because, as an example, Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, the targeting protection is not as consistent for that build as it is for this. So they're basically just going to have a 3k beater, but you know, Druid Swarm can immediately answer that as an example, while getting rid of 1 to 2 furnitures if you opened up Magnamut. So I've won too many games off of these cards, and they just pair really well with Big Welcome Labyrinth, returning them to the hand. And then some more, these are going to be more going first cards. So those Bystials are more like flex spots as far as like first or second. And then these are like hard going first cards. Yeah, Judgment is Judgment. Anti-Spell has, for some reason, I mean, Anti-Spell's always been really degenerate, but when I open this plus, you know, Engine, it feels like it's game most of the time. The only thing that stops this, or that would prevent me from playing at that point, would be evenly matched. So yeah, and then Deck Devi is for, it used to be for decks like super heavy, but this still works against Sprite and just other miscellaneous decks that have a lot of small monsters. But yeah, I would say mostly Sprite. And yeah, let's see, for the other, well, here's another like kind of going first but also somewhat going second. The Lord of the Heavenly Prison, it is a pretty decent card going into certain matchups where you're unsure if you win game 1 and you're unsure if they're gonna make you go first, which is definitely a possibility if they're mainly seeing your furniture cards. You know, they might make you go first. But yeah, I'd say this is probably the most cuttable out of everything in the side deck. I've maybe resolved it once or twice. And not a lot of people are playing Lightning Storm, at least the anti-spell conflicts with it in a way, but having them both together is also really disgusting. And then finally, for hard-going second cards, I'm playing the 3rd Lava Golem and 2 Gamma Seal. You could argue to play a monster with lower stats, just because Lady Labyrinth can't get over this when it's in defense if you cannot get rid of it the same turn, or you want to goes and match them. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions about the build or any other changes, I just mentioned earlier that some potential, you know, spots for cards are the Lava Golem, 1 or 2 Compulses, or definitely at least 1. Yeah, that'd definitely be the case. As far as how I'm liking the ratios of the furnitures themselves, it's been pretty good. I have been liking it. I might bump Chandelier up. One card I've been kind of missing, like I said earlier, was Ash, just for the mirror on the Welcome and Big Welcome. So that's definitely consideration in the future, and that's probably what I may do moving forward. Just seeing how like obscure decks like Vanquish Soul become more popular and stuff like that. I feel like having Ash against that deck is somewhat better than, you know, having all your back row destroyed once a turn. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.